Hey, good morning everybody. This is Mr. Ainsworth and we're going to get into drill 17 here, and we're going to talk about how to graph a line using intercepts only. So we're not going to be solving for y here and getting in slope intercept form like you used to. We're going to use x and y intercepts only. Alright, so how do you do that? Well, let's step it out on the side here. Okay, let's write this down. Alright, it's pretty simple. You let x equal 0 and solve for y. You let x equal 0 and solve for y. And then secondly, you let y equal 0 and solve for x. Believe it or not, it's that simple. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that on the right hand side. Okay, and we're going to put our zeros in here. 0 in for x, and then we're going to solve for y. And then secondly, we're going to put a 0 in for y and solve for x. Alright, it's pretty simple. So the first thing we do is we put 0 in for x first. So I have 2 times 0 minus 4y equals 8. Alright, I simply put a 0 here for x. And then I solve for y, and we know that anything times 0 is 0, so that's gone. And you get negative 4y equals 8, divide by negative 4. Alright, and you get y equals negative 2. And that is called the y-intercept, and you plot that at 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2 here. Then what you do is you find the x-intercept, where it crosses the x-axis. Alright, so we're going to put a 0 in for y. So when I put a 0 in for y, I'm going to put it right here, and what do I get? I get 2x minus 4 times 0 equals 8. That gives me 2x equals 8. That means x equals 4 here. 2 times 4 is 8. That's called my x-intercept, and that's right here. Alright, so at 4 comma 0. So this is your x-intercept, and of course this is your y-intercept here because this is where it crosses the y-axis. Then what you do is you take your straight edge out, and you go ahead and graph your line. It's that simple. So you just plot your x and y-intercepts and graph your lines. It takes 2 points. Alright, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be isolating y here in this drill, alright, and getting the equation in slope-intercept form. No, we're going to use the x and y-intercepts. That means we put the zeros in and go for it. Okay? So the very first thing is what I do here is I put a 0 here. Alright, and I get 3 times 0 minus 5y equals 10. That gives me 5y equals 10. If I divide by negative 5, what do I get? Well, I get y equals negative 2. That's my y-intercept at 0, negative 2 again. Okay, and then my x-intercept. Well, let's see here. I got to put a 0 in for y. So I get 3x minus 5 times 0 equals 10. That gives me 3x equals 10. Divide by 3, and I get x is equal to 3 1/3. So I get 3 1/3, comma 0. So I go right 3, and let me see, 3 1/3 is between 3 and 4. I'm going to approximate it right about here. That's about 3 1/3. So I get 3 1/3, comma 0 as my x-intercept. I get 0 comma negative 2 for my y-intercept. Alright, I graph them, meaning I grab my straight edge and I go ahead and graph the line. Alright, let's try another one. Put my zeros in. Alright, this time I'm going to put a 0 in here. I've got 4 equals 3 times 0 minus y. That gives me 4 equals negative y. Divide by negative 1. Or just switch the signs of the equation, and I get negative 4 equals y. So right there, what I need to do is plot my y-intercept at negative 4. So 0 comma negative 4 is my y-intercept, and now I got to find my x-intercept. Okay, let's now find the x-intercept here by putting 0 in for y. So I've got 4 equals 3x minus 0. I just substitute 0 in there. So let me say I got 4 equals 3x. I got to divide both sides by 3. And I get x is equal to 1 1/3, comma 0. So 1 1/3, comma 0 is my x-intercept. So this is 1 here. 1 1/3 would probably be about here, between 1 and 2. Go ahead and get my straight edge out. And I go ahead and graph that line. Alright, that's all there is to it. 2 points to determine the line. So if you find your intercepts, plot them, graph the line, you're done. Pretty simple, especially when you're working with 0. Alright, number 4. Alright, you're going to substitute 0 for x first, right here. So you get 4y minus minus 3 times 0 equals negative 12. Alright, and I've got 4y equals negative 12 because of that. Gotta love the fact that we're working with zeros here, because anything times 0 is 0, so it wipes that term out. I want to divide by 4, and I get y is equal to negative 3. That's my y-intercept, so 0, negative 3 is right here. Alright, the x-intercept, I gotta put a 0 in for y. So I've got 4 times 0 minus 3x equals negative 12. I get negative 3x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 3, and I get x is equal to 4. So 4 comma 0 is my x-intercept right here. Alright, so go ahead and just graph a line there, and we got, and we're done. Okay, last one. I'm going to substitute 0 for x right here. We get y is equal to 2x, 2 times 0 here, right, minus 1. So y equals negative 1. We expected that because that's the y-intercept right there. So negative 1 here, 0, negative 1. And then I need to put a 0 in for my y, so I got to put it here. So I got 0 equals 2x minus 1. I got to solve for x. I get 1 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2. I get x is equal to 1/2. So I get 1/2 comma 0. And I plot that. It'll be right about here. And I go ahead and graph my line. Okay, that's all there is to it, guys. X and y-intercepts. You substitute 0 in for one variable, solve for the other one. Okay, that's all you have to do. Alright, now you give it a shot. Go ahead and print off a copy of this, try it your own, get good at it, and I'll see you in the next drill.